Um, you also mentioned on a few lives back how someone sent a spirit after you, but you persuaded it to work for you instead. Is there ways to prevent that when we're hiring outside spirits as a non-initiate? No, no. You have to be the bigger dog than the person that you send a spirit after. All right, that's just it. You got to be the bigger dog. You got to be a chief. If you're going out there, if you're hesitating on sending a spirit at somebody because you think that spirit can be stolen, then that spirit can definitely be stolen from you. If the thought is, if you doubt whether you're the big dog in the fight, then you're better off not going the route of sending a spirit. Okay, there are other ways of working on someone without sending a spirit. And I'm sure that person probably felt really powerful. I'm sure they saw that spirit and all that stuff, and now that spirit's sitting in a bottle in my temple right now, working on my money for me. So, and that spirit is definitely very happy in the arrangements because I am the big dog in that situation. You have to be the dog. You got to be the big dog. All right. Now, if you want like spirits to go fight on your behalf, you ask them to protect you. You ask them to send back, other people's bullshit with prejudice. But if you're going to be the aggressor, you had better be the big dog when being an aggressor. Yeah, dreams are probably one of the best ways to work with spirits, unless you're in a crunch. And most of us aren't in a crunch where we have to do things on the spot. The alternative to dreaming and astral projection and all that stuff is just divination in general. You really need to be strong in some form of divination. If it's cards, shells, it could be geomancy, whatever you you choose to specialize in. I Ching, you need to become specialized in divination. That way, if you're in a situation where you need to act quickly, um, oh, I totally missed a question before. Just like how you said we should elevate the ancestors and not work them too much, are there things that should not be asked of the Met Tech? Okay, so this question, there are two answers for this because there are initiates who have the authority to make demands of their spirits by the virtue of initiation. We are allowed to make demands. As non initiates, you are free to petition your spirit for anything you want. You can ask for anything you want, but you don't have the right to demand it. So, non-initiates, you need to really plead your case with your spirits. It's not that there's anything that you shouldn't ask them, but if you are always, if someone is, it's unhealthy to consistently um, demand that your spirits do evil things for you, no matter how much you might choose to justify those evil things. You If you're consistently asking evil things of your spirits will stop doing productive things for you. Remember, it's about training. You train them how to behave. All right. And the energies that you create with them are going to dictate what comes back at you. Now, you can be not, some people will have come from ancestral lines of that are magical lineages per se of ancestors that serve certain spirits, and those spirits have been around for generation after generation after generation. Those people don't need to be initiated to gain authority. They were born with that authority. And basically, you would know if you were born with that type of relationship with the spirits. I've met a handful of people like that, a handful over the years that had a naturally strong relationship with a particular Loa, and they could make demands of those lois and get results. But if you're here, if you're here and you're asking these questions, you probably don't have that relationship, and it's good to follow this advice. Does everybody have a loi as a head spirit, or does that vary by country/ancestry? Okay. Um, if you go through voodoo, you will have a loi. That loi will be a stand-in for the natural force that you would, and it's going to be a stand-in in a sense that um, it's completely compatible. All right. Uh, with it, talk about the ocean, right? You go to different parts of the world. You go to Greece, and you're in the Mediterranean. That ocean is an ocean, but it might vibe a little bit differently to you than if you're in the Caribbean off the Atlantic. And if your spirit is a marine spirit, right? You could receive a loi as a stand-in for the marine spirit um, that you were born with, and it's perfectly compatible. You won't run into issues with it. That Met-Tet will behave as a Loa. It will behave in like the spirits of that lineage behaves. Okay, all of these spirits. Now I'm speaking specifically of the type of baptism initiation that we do. Okay, I can't give away how it all really works, but it heavily has to do with the lineage ancestors of the priest that is giving you that spirit. Now, the word I'm saying here is giving you the spirit. We aren't like calling the spirit out of you. Okay, you're like a ray of the rainbow, right? And within that particular ray, there are certain energies and personalities that are going to be compatible within that ray. Okay, so we aren't changing your individual ray. We're giving personality to it, and that personality is going to hinge on the the skill of the initiator and the nature of the ancestors of that lineage, as well as your own ancestors. And I know that I don't mean for it to sound so vague, but I really don't want to say too much about what is actually happening, because I'm afraid that if I tell someone too much, it's not that someone's going to disagree with me. It's that people are going to start experimenting and messing up people's heads. And it's very easy to do. It's very easy to mess up somebody's head. The head is so sensitive. And in the baptism, we are calling spirits into your head to share a part of your mind with, okay? So that you are directly plugged in. And that's why possession needs to occur. Some form of possession has to take place. Um, and the funny part about possession, especially the first possession, is most people aren't even aware that it happened. They go, nothing happened, nothing happened. So, maybe you're Greek, and your spirit is, your the spirit your ancestors worship and that has been with your family is Poseidon. Okay. And there are no cults to Poseidon. There's no worship anymore. That's a old religion that's, I don't want to say dead, but those spirits are, we don't, it's purely Reconstructionist what exists now. Meanwhile, you go to a living tradition like Haitian voodoo, and they look at you and they go, "Oh, you have Agwe," and then you receive Agwe, and that those two things would be uh, perfectly compatible, and that Loa will love you as though you are its own child. Yeah, dormant spirits. I think I've said that in the past, and I don't really. I don't know if dormant spirits is the right word anymore. And how you doing today, Marty? Um, I think I want to change that and say we have We will have Gedes, okay? We have like dead that walk with us. They could be ancestors or spirits that we've picked up along the way, but the actual like Metet is is more like a radiation. It's like a vibe. It's like a vibration that you're dealing with. Um, and it's a particular type of wavelength. And we give personality to that wavelength when we initiate. So it's not that like whatever whoever your Metet was dormant. It's more like it wasn't really conscious at all. And then when we call it down and we do it through our particular rites, it's going to take on the flavors of a Loa. And it's really interesting too because I have people that, while under possession, they start speaking Creole, and they they don't speak Creole otherwise. So, you know what? There really isn't much of a distinguishing between demands and petitions. Um, and this is like, all right, when we're talking about a demand versus a petition, we're talking about a want over a need. We can go to petition, we can petition spirits with our needs. I need this to happen in order that my life can get better, versus I want this to happen for the sheer fact that I want it to happen. So when we're talking about that, is it a want? Is it a need? And that's something that like, um, you don't want to make sure you want to make sure you're not trying to fool yourself into making a demand when you really have, or framing a demand as a need, because the spirits are wise enough and they will know if you need something or you don't. Okay. Another reason we got to be careful with demands is if we don't have and you're not initiated, and uh, you don't have a lifelong arrangement with these spirits, and you haven't outlined some form of compensation that's completely agreed upon for that spirit to work with you, and you're making demands of it. You don't know what kind of bill that spirit is racking up on you. Okay. So if you don't know what the bill is, you need to be very careful what you're asking for, or to say, if you do this for me, I will give you this. Okay. Versus like, I need you to do this for me and I'll just take care of you. That can be a slippery slope.